or you can look at me.
We're live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trail Talk. I'm so excited to introduce you to our special guest today. This is Melissa Smith from Melissa Smith Design, no S on the end, right? And as you can see, she brought some beautiful jewelry with her. But we're really glad that you tuned in today. We're here at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in Duncan, Oklahoma. Melissa, you live here in Duncan?
Yes.
Is that right? So Melissa isn't just an amazing artisan. She is a local amazing artisan. And so we're super glad that she could be with us today. So maybe before we get to the jewelry that you brought, would you mind giving us a little bit of your backstory? Okay, so how long have you lived here in Duncan?
I've been here for 31 years.
For 31 years, okay. Have you always kind of had this artistic flair? Is this?
Well, as a kid, I did crafts and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. About the mid 90s though, and I did nothing with it. I've had maybe 2 art classes. But in the mid 90s, I went through a situation where it was extremely stressful. I had caregiving for some elderly people in my life, and along with young children and working full time and that sort of thing. And so I realized, as a mother, sometimes if you do not take care of yourself, there will not be anyone to take care of you. And I realized if I was going to get through that stressful situation, that I had to take time for me. And about that same time, I found a painting technique, and I thought, well, I think I can do that. And it just kind of grew from there. I've done murals around town.
Oh, really?
And that was a long time ago. And then, but it advanced into acrylic painting. And then it moved a few years ago into pour painting, of all things. Pour painting, that's where you just kind of mix everything together and throw it on the canvas.
Oh, that sounds like my kind of, actually anything I try to paint might look like that's what happened.
Well, it's very abstract, and for a person who was a very, very detailed person, it was very different, but it's good. It kind of helped me loosen up a little bit. But then I moved from there to using epoxy resin and making things. The things that drew me were what I would call geode style.
Right.
Where it has the crystals and that sort of thing, and different things of that nature. And then about a year ago, I woke up and saw something that I had never seen before. And after a little bit of time, realized this is a piece of jewelry, and it's got liquid in the center and it moves. And of course, I couldn't let that alone. I had to see what I could do with that. And it took 9 months
for you to
develop
that. That is very cool. So, do you think that this is one of a kind jewelry then?
I've never seen anything like it before.
Wow, that is super cool. I had not even considered that.
Yes.
Wow.
And my initial jewelry that I started out with before the 9 months was making sure it functioned properly. And so the movement that I saw in those dreams was like a flow, like a water flowing, and just a real smooth, calm movement. And it took a while to get to that point where that movement was in there and it worked correctly.
Right.
And then, so then I got to the pretty stuff where I actually made it pretty, but I had to get it working first.
Right. So, I'm curious, how things are copyrighted or patented or things like that. Is there some kind of license you have on this? No, is that something artists do?
You can get a copyright or something on that. Like I said, it took me 9 months to figure it out, and I'm still developing it.
Right.
The next collection that I'm doing now is actually a little bit different, improved maybe, and it's just continuing to develop. So, if someone wanted to learn to figure out how to do that,
Right,
go for it.
right.
But
Well,
anyway,
I think that's very generous of you. I mean, because it seems like a very unique idea, and that is so cool, so very cool. So that means that all the processes and everything that you've gone through, you just have kind of, you use the word engineered. You have engineered those in your mind and
right.
and brought it about.
And just one step at a time. I can't tell you how many, well, of course, with everything you go through, there's things that don't work.
Oh,
And there's
right.
failures and
right.
anytime you go to develop something. And so, I mean, I watched videos of George Washington Carver, which was very encouraging. And I had to remind myself, 409 got its name for a reason.
Right.
Because there was 408 failures. Thankfully, I didn't have 408, but
Yeah.
but it seemed like one step forward and two steps back sometimes.
Well, and I mean, I love it when you talked about the pour painting earlier. Every artist I've ever talked to, they have taken themselves from their comfort zone to a new place in their art by pushing themselves out of that comfort zone, trying something that either makes them more relaxed with it. Most of the time, that's what it is. Most of the artists I've talked to are perfectionists at the beginning.
Oh, yes.
And they have learned how to let go of all of that perfectionism. And then their art has more of a freedom to it. And, they just feel like they're able to express themselves better. And I just love that journey that is attached to every artist's story, from where you start to where you are today.
Yes.
That is so awesome.
Yes, I definitely, if you had asked me 5 years ago if I'd be doing jewelry, I would have laughed at you. Because, I mean, I love jewelry, but I'm not a diamond kind of girl where I have to have all the, that's not what I'm all about. So for me to actually be doing jewelry, I do jewelry that I would like, or that statement pieces that mean something to me. But I would have never seen myself doing this.
Interesting. Well, I mean, really, you look, these very small details that are a part of your jewelry are kind of the exact opposite of a mural. A large, see from a distance, and lots of different things going on. And all of this is compacted down into this tiny piece, comparatively speaking.
Right.
And so, wow, what a change.
One of my biggest challenges with this new design is actually getting it smaller. Like your jewelry that you have on right now is fairly small.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of people like the smaller jewelry, and I like both. But getting the design smaller comes with its own unique challenges. And I'm proud to say that in this new collection, I've got some smaller pieces.
You have some smaller ones. Wow. So you're still stretching, still pushing yourself.
Oh, yes.
I love it. That is so, well, it's just the best message for young people, who are afraid to try something new, or afraid to, step out there. And I just find it very encouraging that you've been willing to do that. And you just started this 9 months ago.
Well, it's actually,
that's how long it took the process for you to get that down. So probably.
I've been working on this design starting in March of last year.
A year and almost 2 years, I guess you could say. Almost
About
2
a year and a
years,
half.
a year and a half.
And then I just now got my website released in September, and it's just, I'm a one person show, so it takes a while to do all that. But all of my designs are custom. And one of the unique things that I found out after I was doing this, I think that you'll find a lot of artists probably journal, and they write down ideas of what they're thinking about doing in a journal. And I do that. And so I had ideas for the pretty stuff before I had the design nailed down. But And then I went and developed it. And what's so unique about it is that as I'm developing these certain pieces, except for example, this one right here
Mhm.
is, it reminded
I'll hold
me
it for you.
of my great grandmother the whole time I was doing it.
Uh-huh.
And there was other pieces that reminded me of different people.
Mhm.
And after I got all of these done, this, I don't know if you can really tell, but this kind of leans back into the geode design.
Right, yes, it has the little black, are
And
those
then
black stones in there?
black
Okay.
stones and
Uh-huh.
then gold beads
Mhm.
also. And as I was doing that, I just, sometimes you just get an idea, this really reminds me of a certain person.
Mhm.
And so after I had finished the collection, I went back and I was looking, I stumbled upon the meaning of a geode. Well, this is an example of part of a geode. A
Uh-huh.
geode is kind of a round rock, and the outside is well worn and weathered from storms.
Mhm.
And then due to a sudden shift in heat or pressure, that's when the crystals form inside. And when you break it open, well, my great grandmother lost her husband when she had eight young children at
Oh,
home. And that was during the Depression. So it was
Mm.
like, wow, no
Mhm.
wonder,
No,
that
I-
it really fit her personality.
right.
And of course, not just the style, but even the stones have different meanings, colors have different meanings, the shapes have different meanings.
Mhm.
A column, that's one of the jewelry stories on my website.
Mhm.
It talks about a column, that one over there that's red, and it's a support system. And so when I started going into this on so many of these, one of the ones I made has a turquoise, and the girl that it exemplifies that I was thinking of the whole time I was making it is just a very bubbly, outgoing, very encouraging person. And
Mhm.
even though she's gone through some, cancer in recent
Mhm.
years and has 4 young children. And it was just like, wow, when I went back and looked at the meaning. So
Mm,
that's why it says on there, every piece of jewelry has a story.
right.
And I'm encouraging others, not only if they want to buy a custom piece already made, that's great.
Mhm.
If they have someone in mind or a special event in mind that they want a piece of custom jewelry made to represent, that's
Mhm.
what I'm offering also.
Oh, so you commission pieces then?
Yes.
Wow, very nice. That is, and so someone would just tell you a brief story or some information about the person or the event, and then
Oh.
you would be able to take that and create something very unique
Exactly.
and very personal for that. Oh, wow, that's a wonderful idea.
On my website, it has a walkthrough of what to think about, and then we would meet together and have a Zoom meeting. And from that meeting, then I would give them 2 ideas that they could choose from, and then we would move on from there.
Wow, I love that idea so much. So I don't know how much you want to talk about your process, but do you want to just kind of give a rundown of, just kind of describe how you create a piece, and then we'll just kind of go through and look at your jewelry, or maybe like your new technique as opposed,
Okay.
like comparing it to the original technique that you did, or what would you?
This kind of shows, it's large enough that kind of shows. So I don't know if you can tell, but I talked about having a movable center, and I call it a window. Okay. And the window can be clear or it can have color.
Mhm.
But the main thing is it has a liquid in there that's a very thick liquid. And then whatever you put inside can move. And so this one, I don't know if it'll
Get it
cooperate,
to-
but it also, as this warms up, as it's warm, it warms up against the
against
body,
the skin,
and it makes it
Okay.
more fluid inside too. So
That's cool. Oh my gosh, I love
So-
that.
when I developed this, the the developmental part of it was mainly the windows part of it.
Okay.
That's what had to be developed. And that's supposed to be basically the focus of the piece.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's moved to how do I decorate outside of that, or how do I go beyond that?
Right.
And these, like I said before, these are all the what I might call statement necklaces,
Mm-hmm.
because they go with certain, I mean, you couldn't wear this every day.
Right. Yeah, that's not gonna go with my gray sweatshirt.
Right,
This is
right.
gonna be for a nicer
Right.
event or something.
So, but this one, the main focus was on the window and how we went from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next collection that I'm working on right now is called Simply Silver.
Right.
It has fine silver beads inside
Uh-huh.
and fine silver setting on the outside.
Okay.
It's very organic looking.
Uh-huh.
It's
Oh,
it's not meant to be perfect.
but things still move in there.
Oh, right. Everything that I design has the movement.
Has a movement inside. And I don't know if you guys can tell, there's a bubble even inside here. It's a little bit behind that piece of silver that goes across.
That's
But this whole thing is, has the resin, I guess, is this a resin on the outside? So
the very outside. has
you can't feel that silver there. You can feel this part about back here, but you can really see those beads moving around in the back of it.
Let me get one that
So-
you can see a little bit easier.
It is so cool. That's a overused word for me today already. I've used the word cool, I don't know how many times.
Okay, so this one shows more movement, will show more movement because there's the
Oh,
the
uh-huh.
design.
Uh-huh.
And it's got silver cubes inside of it, and then as you move
Okay,
it,
yeah.
and gravity is what causes it to move.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, that's showing up really well. Very nice. So these they have movement. They don't have just a window. Is that one of the differences also? The whole thing seems like it's the window.
It just depends. I've
Okay.
kind of gone to that,
Uh-huh.
but by going with the metal, it's been another learning curve. And so I'm kind of changing gears. The way I design these, I'm kind of backpedaling and redesigning a little bit differently. Where I designed the window of that first, now I'm starting to design, I'm learning that my best bet would be to go with the exterior and then do the inside.
Okay.
And you can't tell it on this one, but on some of them, for instance, this one, it has a silver partition in the
Yes.
center of it.
Uh-huh. And so it has two separate areas where they move and it doesn't cross over.
Right.
Okay. That is cool. You know what? If I had a piece of this, I would probably sit and play with it all the time. Because I would be trying to watch those beads move around.
It's actually very calming.
Yes.
I think it could pass as fidget toy.
For real. That's funny.
But the neat part of this design is not only can I grow it in women's jewelry, but I can grow it into men's jewelry and go into other areas such as sculpture with this design. It's just at a different level.
Right. So I only see necklaces. Have you considered bracelets or rings or things like
I
that?
think I'm primarily going to stick with the necklaces because like I said, you get too small and it's more of a challenge to do the tiny things than it is to do the larger.
Right.
And so I'll probably stick with that. One of the ideas I've got coming up
Although
is
something like that would be,
right. It
you
would
know,
work okay.
yeah, like an index finger kind of, but yeah, I mean, these are just, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
One of
you're
your
just
ideas
fine.
is,
Well, it's just these are pretty much a one size fits all. Where you get into rings, you've got to have certain sizes and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
true.
And also being a metalsmith doesn't hurt if you were to do that. And I am
Right.
in the very beginnings of that. So I'm a little, not that I wouldn't maybe later on, but
Mhm, mhm.
that's not been my primary.
Well, I
focus.
mean, this is in the world of art, this is brand new for you. You
Yes.
know, I mean, you don't really have a full year of product good
Exactly.
under your belt yet, you know, so I mean, yes, I
One
can
of-
see taking it up slow would be.
Yes, well, and when I have a tendency to jump in with both feet when I do things. And same with this, I had never worked with metal before, and then I jumped in and it's like, oh, I need to slow down and take my time. But one of the next collections that I do will be more of a theme for our country.
Mhm.
And along with that, not only will I probably make necklaces, but I may make lapel pins or tie tacks. Because
Oh.
it could cross
uh-huh,
over into
uh-huh.
that as well.
Oh, nice, nice.
So,
I love that. So Melissa was telling us a little bit earlier about creating a QR code for this episode, and she's saying all these cool business ideas. So tell us about this group that you're a part of, because I think this is really a great part of behind the scenes of what you're doing that people may not have considered.
right. Well, as an artist, a lot of times we seem to be solitary
Mhm.
with what we're doing, and we feel like we're on an island sometimes because we don't have ideas. And I'm part of a mentoring group called the Thriving Christian Artist. And this gentleman started this group after he started out as a basket maker and turned into fiber sculpture for walls. It's
Oh.
just phenomenal. He's featured in Smithsonian.
Oh, wow.
But this has all happened for him since 2009. And he started this group as a mentoring group to share ideas and tell people that you don't have to be a starving artist.
Mhm.
And he supports us and we support each other. Having community is huge.
Right.
And so we have meetings every week and things within that group, and it has been very helpful. And included in that is the teaching on some of the business practices, you know, of social media and that sort of thing.
I'm guessing creating your web page.
Right,
All
right.
of that, marketing
Right.
ideas.
And what I didn't realize before and am learning and still trying to master is ideally, no matter how great of an artist you are, you still have to market.
Right.
And ideally, you would spend about 50% of your time marketing and
Mhm.
50% of time in the studio.
Wow.
And so it's kind of a juggling act to get there,
Mhm.
because there's days when it's just like, this is all I'm doing. But then I get geeky into the nerd stuff of research and
Right.
SEO and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
I could stay there forever sometimes too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one of the things that they've been encouraging us to do is the QR codes are just like a barcode or whatever.
Mhm.
But basically, it's just a link.
Mhm.
If you will scan that with the QR code on your phone,
Mhm.
then it will take you to that link.
Mhm.
And I had been told about this a couple of weeks ago, and I finally said, well, I'm going to try it yesterday. And I did. And you've got free applications like QR Monkey is the one that I use,
Mhm.
where you can change it and have it fit your personality, your style. You can put your logo on there. And so having this community helps in so many ways. And then we have a question and answer every week where you can
Mhm.
ask questions, and it's a great support.
I love it. You know, when we had the Raining in the Arts event,
Mhm.
I guess about just a month ago.
Right.
I can't
Yes.
believe that's just been a month ago. But we had, you know, this big room full of artists in the back, and that networking
Mhm.
that happened back there, just in feedback, was one of their favorite. It was the biggest part of the day for a lot of those artists, because it's just making those connections. And getting ideas from each other and that whole thing that happens. And I love that. And it's so important. I mean, if marketing is 50% of your business, then events like that where you get to hang out with other artists and talk about ideas and experiences and all of that. Wow, what a great way to spend a day. You know, I'm really seeing the benefit of that from a different perspective now.
Right.
And that is awesome. So when COVID shut down everything, it wasn't just that artists lost their ability to perform or design or create, and they lost their community as well, you know, and had to find new ways, which the creative community of artists, right? They're going to be the first ones probably to come up with a way to, you know, like this group that you're a part of. I'm sure those are Zoom meetings.
Yes,
That you
Zoom
know,
and Facebook Live.
right,
and that sort of
exactly.
thing.
So, you know, just that whole ability to adapt to the situation.
Right. And one of the things that we saw, so many artists, they have shows that they go to.
Mhm.
And of course, there were no shows
Right.
last year. So with this group's help too, some had already been doing this, but they pivoted into teaching online.
Mm.
And so it just helps to have ideas out there and, you know, I would love to teach right now. I don't have, I mean, I'm not there at a place to teach, but that's huge. And they give you ideas on how to launch a website or how to launch a class and how to go about it. And that's, you're taking other people's experiences and sometimes failures and maybe taking some shortcuts to get to where you're going.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just, anyway, it's sharing and helping, you know, and I love all of that. Well, I think so viewers, we have several of Melissa's pieces here at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in our gift shop, but I'm sure these are what we don't have here. Well, we have them on our webpage, so you can view them there. Right. And find out how to purchase if you were interested. But I'm guessing all of your pieces are available on your webpage.
Yes.
So let's go through and give people kind of a close-up look at some of the pieces that we have out here and just the variety that you offer, and also ideas in case you're interested in commissioning Melissa to do a piece for you. So let's just kind of start down here. Bailey's going to zoom in with the camera, and
this is a column and it has,
they might be a little cool. I've been freezing all day and
that it's got some ruby crystal cubes inside and it moves. And to me, it's very mesmerizing to watch that. This one is also a fun piece. It's got a lot of small silver beads in there.
Okay, yeah, she zoomed in on that. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
This is the back side. Let me put it down.
I'm gonna stare. This is as bad as our fake snow yesterday. We made fake snow and could not stop messing with it.
So this takes more time. You really can see the flow when you've got so many small pieces. The larger pieces.
So let me ask, so this is 100% resin, except for the thing that are inside the window and then the attachment. Is this all?
Not necessarily. It's got different things.
But it's there's no
does have some
metal. There's no metal on.
No, I don't have
like
any.
your newer line.
The fine silver is not there.
Okay.
Now, all of the
chains
or sterling, the findings or the hoops or the rings, I guess you'd call it, is sterling. Or if it's this, it could be what I've done instead of 14 karat. It's just the price. It's so pricey right now. It's like 10 times the price. So what I've done is bought 14 karat gold covered sterling.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For these chains. And then some of the actual bells and different findings are 14 karat gold.
Okay, okay.
On
So
the-
this is fine jewelry.
It is fine jewelry.
Yes, this is not just a costume piece. These are, I mean, obviously you're an artisan. These are unique. They're not mass produced or anything. So
No.
these are all done by hand. So about how long does it take you to create one of these pieces?
Well,
Just to give folks an idea of
on my
what we're kind of
website-
talking about here.
I said something like allow 6 to 8 weeks. And that's probably a little bit on the long side,
Mhm.
but I do not rush through these because I don't want anything leaving my hands that doesn't show excellence.
Mhm.
So
There's that perfectionism. It's still hiding in there.
it is, it's still there. But I think it depends on if I have everything I need to make it and everything. And
Mhm.
within the customizing thing, if someone has a specific gemstone or a specific memento that they want included in the window, then I will try to help them get there. Now, we don't want anything, or I'd prefer not to handle anything that's historical that we might run, but can we get a copy of it, and then I have to make it into something hard, even, powders or that sort of thing.
Mhm.
I have to form it into some kind of shape
Mhm.
so that we can use it. And someone has mentioned liquids, and we would have to do that in a way maybe where it would take on I wouldn't put just any liquid in the center. I would have to make it into its own hard piece somehow.
Mhm.
So
Like
my,
a little, a liquid inside a tiny
I don't
bubble
know.
or something,
I
and
might
then
could do
floating
that.
around inside the bigger one.
That's a thought.
Uh-huh.
That's definitely a thought. And on my website, I have a list of ideas of how you can do the custom designs.
Mhm.
From maybe it's memories of your grandmother teaching you how to sew. Maybe we put a thimble or threads or part of a quilt that you made with her,
Mhm.
just a tiny piece, or maybe even make a copy of that and make it into something hard so it can go inside of that. Maybe a tiny lock of hair from when your baby was little.
Mhm.
Something special. It's going to be something special that you wear next to your heart.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
why we want it to be custom just for you.
Right. Oh, I love that idea so much. So let's look, okay, so when I look at this one down, oh, it's a big flat thing that's moving around,
Right.
and it's very glittery. It's very shiny. Look at it.
And I should be able to tell you what that's called.
very pretty.
Brown Goldstone is the name of that.
Brown goldstone.
Mhm.
That's pretty, and it really moves it. a
This
lot.
window is not clear. It's got black behind it. So it
Okay.
really shows that off.
Mhm, mhm, yeah,
Can you angle it down
Oh.
a little? Sorry,
like that.
Mhm.
How's that? Yeah,
just to see it.
very good. Okay, now this piece looks like, is that some metal in there, or what is that?
It
color?
looks like it. It's silver,
Okay,
but
beautiful.
it's got the red crystals in there too.
And
red
then you
crystal
also
beads.
put some of the beads in the background that's stationary
Exactly.
there. And then I guess these are also in a stationary
Yes,
part, and then
yes.
just the window
Just
there.
the window.
I can definitely see a progression of, or it seems to me, where you have just, a small window but then you go to this where you've got a lot more movement, a lot smaller things. These are just
It's
lovely.
just, there's just so many ideas in so little time.
So really, I mean, like you spent 6 or 8 weeks on this one. Do you work on more than one piece at a time? You get one to a certain stage and then you can go and work on another one?
That's one thing this group has helped me do, and it's batching.
Batching,
Whether you're
okay.
batching when you're doing your social media or even batching doing jewelry, if I can be at the same level with several pieces, it
Mhm.
helps because I don't have to start from scratch, get everything out new every time.
Right.
So, because there's so many stages that it goes through.
So I was thinking about this earlier. Do you have kind of a lab or workshop somewhere where you develop these things? Is this kind of is there like some kind of chemical process that has to happen in order for this jewelry to
This,
created?
well, I'm actually using a room in my house right now,
Mm-hmm.
but
Her
ideally,
laboratory is in her house.
but the more I expand, like for instance, with the metal, I have to use a flame torch
Oh,
with that, and I have
that's
to.
probably not a good idea in your house.
So I'm doing that out in the garage, and I think my husband would agree. It would be nice if I could get a studio because
Mhm.
I am overflowing just about all through the house.
Yeah, I bet you are. So, another thought I just had, do you pour these into a form to get the shape? Is that kind of part of the process to set the resin in a shape, or?
I have developed my own molds, you might say, to make these.
Okay,
And as you can tell, these circular ones, it's kind of like a column.
okay.
And then that's kind of how that's worked here.
Mhm.
And that's been a feat in and of itself because I had to develop all of that or come up with an idea of how to make molds that would work for
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Well, transition over here to this is what I call the Simply Silver line, which is it's simply silver, simply fine silver.
Mhm.
And what I am finding here is it's almost better to do the outside shape first and then create the window
Mm.
after that.
Mhm.
And so there's been a lot of trial and error
Mhm.
to find that out, but I'm kind of reverse engineering that, but it's all good. Because I
Right.
can go from either direction and even going back and making those with this new way of designing, I could make thinner pieces than I could over there. And
Ah.
I can make smaller pieces. And so
Uh-huh.
what was very limiting there, although I can still make those pieces, I can make them a little bit differently and have a little bit more flexibility with that.
Right. So how long have you had the Simply Silver line?
I am in the process over the past month or so of making it. These are not on the website yet.
Uh-huh.
I mean, literally am still working on it
Brand
this week.
new, hot off the torch, y'all.
And so, but yes, they will be for sale and there will be some here at some point,
Okay.
but they're not on the website yet. If you see something that you're interested in, I've got a contact page on my website. You can just contact me and we'll go from there. Another thing that I'm in the process of implementing is it will be either gift cards or electronic gift cards or gift certificates.
Okay.
So that if you have someone who's difficult to buy for,
Mhm.
but you want them to get exactly what they want, then you can give that gift card or gift certificate this
Mhm.
Christmas, and they can pick up what they want, whether it's something that's in stock or they can go towards a custom design.
Very nice. What a great idea. I'm telling you, your marketing ideas are top notch. And honestly, I mean, you can really tell y'all, these small pieces here, I'm just gonna kind of put them where you can see them. Can you get them there, Bailey? Is that a good angle? I like compared to, like you said, just as a comparison of what you did before and what you're able to do now. Because these smaller pieces are something that, you could get for a teenager, or someone who might be not as apt to wear something like one of these large ones,
Right,
even,
right.
yeah, oh, that was kind of attached. But even like this one, I'm just, really, I'm loving the smaller sized ones. I think that is such a great way to expand your market.
And
These are
it comes
so
with
cute.
its challenges when you go tiny. The tinier it is, the harder it is to work with.
So
sometimes.
I just have to ask you, what are you doing with the torch? Not that I'm into fire or anything like that, but
It's actually kind of fun.
I have a feeling it's a really fun. And so what is it that you have to do? Heat the metal to,
Okay, well, something I didn't know about 6-8 months ago is
Uh-huh.
that they have something that's called clay, metal clays.
oh,
And you make the clay into the design you want. And then when you torch it, it's fine silver is 99.9%
mhm,
silver.
mhm.
And the clay that's fine silver clay is after you torch it, it shrinks and it's 99.9% silver.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. So you're basically just shrinking that clay off of the silver somehow and
The-
making
When
and then
you
the silver's left?
When you fire it, there is a binder that holds that together and makes it into a clay. And then it dries and it's very fragile
Uh-huh.
when it's before it's fired. And then you go fire it and it will shrink then. And then you can do what you will with it. And part of that shrinkage that I'm learning is, I've had one piece where I've added another piece to it afterwards, and then you can fire it as many times as you want. But something that's already shrunk and something that you're trying to shrink may not hold the
Match up.
same form
Uh-huh.
afterwards. So that's one of the
Okay.
new challenges.
But what fun figuring that out.
Right. But not only do they have silver clay, but they
Mhm.
have copper clay. They have the different bronze clays. They have all kinds of things. Now, some of them should be used in a kiln.
Uh-huh.
Right now, I'm still at the firing stage.
Right. She's
but-
still got the torch out. Y'all. She's-
I'm into the fire part. In the firing, the actual torch is actually faster because
Oh,
it takes you, well, I allow anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It depends on the clay, how thick it is, all
Mhm.
kinds of the factors that go with that. But, within 10 minutes, you've got your final piece.
Mhm.
You may have to go back and add things to it or whatever, but whereas if you go in a kiln, you're talking hours and you have to have a certain setup of all this and kilns. I haven't,
Right.
it's an
That's a big
investment.
investment. Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
investment.
Yeah.
And truthfully, it's something about using that torch and just watching it, and it amazes me still
Mhm.
to watch the transformation happen.
That is, wow. I think Melissa's jewelry sounds fun to make. For real. So when you're talking about commission pieces, would you be able to do that with the silver, or are you wanting to keep that only silver inside?
I'm not understanding. what
So
you
if
mean.
someone like had something, you were talking about a lock of hair or a piece of a quilt or
Oh.
something colored, would you recommend doing, more of the original way that you were talking, or?
I
what
will
are you
probably
thinking?
continue to go this route and maybe just line the outside and make a setting
Uh-huh.
out of silver or some other thing.
Okay.
If I go to the men's jewelry, I'll probably go with coppers and darker colors like that they would tend to like.
Yeah.
But what we put inside really doesn't matter. We'll just design it to what they want. I mean, some of the, like, for instance, this one is more what I would call a classical
Mhm.
type, but
Mhm.
a lot of this stuff is more modern, more contemporary.
Mhm.
And if someone's getting a custom piece, it's for them. So we'll
Right.
design it how they want.
Right.
And I just love to hear people's stories
Mhm.
and them tell me.
Mhm.
And so, and I've done some YouTubes that talked about the stories behind this and
Mhm.
some lives on Instagram. And anyway, that's to me, that's the fun part, is to hear someone else's story and translate that into something that's very special that they can wear next to their home.
Right. Oh man, something you were, so the group that you are a part of, is that how you found out about some of these other materials that you've used, or how did you find out about like the clay? And I'm just wondering how people
I think I stumbled onto it.
really just
Mhm.
kind of found it out.
Right. One of the challenges I had with the first round is I knew nothing about metal. And so the bales and that sort of thing ended up being more of a glue on. Even though it was
Okay,
Sterling, it was
Right.
glue on. And then it came with a different set of challenges.
Mhm.
And I decided the next go around, I need to get better. And people that do metalsmithing, they've trained for years.
Yeah.
And they've got the setup. It's like, I admire what they do and I appreciate what they do, but that's not my primary focus. It's not the metal side of it.
Mhm.
However, I have to say it's very fun.
Yeah.
And, if I were to teach a class, I might just go that route and just do the metal
Mhm.
making.
Yeah.
But
So,
that's,
another thing, I'm always interested in how artists assign a price to whatever, whether it's a painting or a piece of jewelry or whatever. How have you been able to do that? Because when we have featured artists, the range of prices is always just so, I mean, I don't really ask, why is this one this price or this one this price? It is what they wanted. They have a reason for that price attached to it. So I was just kind of curious, have you received advice on that, or how do you come about that?
well, this mentoring group,
Uh-huh.
he has an art calculator
Interesting.
that you can use, and you take all kinds of things into consideration, your studio fees, all of that. And, you also can go on, most of your people that do the wall pieces, they'll go by square inch, they'll have a price per square inch or
Okay.
something like that. A lot of times your local artists really undervalue their work and don't price it. But the mentoring group, my mentor, his name is Matt Tommy, and it's Tonnmey.
Mm-hmm.
And he has just written a book on pricing your work that you can get off of Amazon, and it shows you how. And should someone already want to join the program, the mentoring program, they have certain times of the year that people can come into the program.
Mm-hmm.
But before he wrote that book, he had this within the
Had that.
mentoring.
Wow. See, I think that is such an amazing tool and help for artists. And so I love it that there's something kind of concrete to help you attach, a price to something you've created. That's probably kind of hard to do.
It is very hard.
And not every artist has that business side of their brain.
Exactly.
And so to have something that book is probably going to be, I hope it's very well received by the art
I'm
artist
sure
community.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So wow, that's really good to know. That's very interesting. I've been kind of curious about that before.
Well, I think artists on the whole, for the most part, may not have the business head, like you said.
Mhm.
And I am from a business background, but by having something like that, he put something concrete out there that you can say, this is why you have to, if you can't afford to make the art and get enough out of it to recreate it again, then you can't make a living off of this.
Right.
And so you have to take that into consideration.
Right. And I've talked to artists who have been, creating, you called it a wall art. Is that what you said?
Right, like-
Wall, yeah, something. I liked the way you termed that. I liked wall art. That set it apart for me. For 40 years, but it was never something they were able to afford raising a family. You know, it's just not always something someone can say, I'm going to be a professional.
Right.
Because I'm going to be able to provide a living for my family, you know, at this. And so, you know, having a tool like that, I
Right.
feel like maybe would help some
Oh, it
artists
was,
be able to
it's,
do that.
that's one of the most asked questions that my mentor gets is how do you price your art? How do you price your art?
Yeah.
And, you know, we all have to find our own voice in
Mhm.
whatever we're doing.
Mhm.
And I have some of those wall pieces and even the small things on my website of what I was doing before.
Mhm.
But, and not all of it is for women.
Right, right.
There is
Yeah.
some that's, but mine tends to be kind of nature related, organic looking, I
Mhm,
think. I
mhm.
think that's just me.
Mhm.
But you still, this is a very common question, a very common theme. And like I said, we're probably the biggest critics of anything we do and have a tendency to value what we do less than other people do.
Mhm. Right. So, are you hoping to have your pieces in a gallery someday? I mean, or do you have some pieces in galleries
My-
anywhere right now?
What I'm calling a gallery is here,
Okay.
the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center. I'm starting here, it's starting local. And I am looking into some shows to do probably in 2022. But
Nice.
so much of the time you need to have a website and you have to
Mhm.
submit a request to do that. And this is all new. This side of it's
You're
all
doing the
new.
groundwork.
Mhm.
You're doing the groundwork, and y'all, we are the first place that she's had her jewelry. I love that. I didn't realize that.
Oh,
I
yes.
think that's awesome.
Would you like the story behind that?
Yeah.
Well, I needed to be able to do videos
Uh-huh.
of my work and do pictures. And this jewelry is so reflective. And plus having that column in the
Yes.
center, even with the light box, it's what I have now. It's a challenge to get everything lit up without it glaring.
Mhm.
And so what I've done is I started coming out here. I noticed all the rocks that you have on the landscape here.
Mhm.
And I started photographing and videoing them out there. And needed to get a little bit closer than is normally permissible just because of the way the lighting was and everything.
Right.
And so asked Scott permission, who's the director, as you know. And that's when he says, well, you need to show Savannah.
Uh-huh.
He said, we've been looking for someone who does jewelry.
Mhm.
And so that was it just kind of fell into
Just
place.
happened. Well, you never know what a nice little rock landscape will get you. Yeah, that's a great story. I love that, Melissa. Well, listen, I'm so glad you could be on today. I think that this is just so exciting. I cannot wait to see the success that you're going to have in the future. I am just thrilled to be on right on the edge here, to see you. I really hope that you have a lot of people reach out to you and you can do something so special and unique for people. I mean, this is so exciting.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
very exciting.
This is exciting for me too. It's almost like coming home. My dad was a glazier. He had a glass shop, and we used to make crafts in his glass shop.
Oh, so
And-
your crafts are a little different from the ones I was thinking about earlier.
Well, I did other crafts too, but
I'm thinking about, hot gluing something on a tea
well,
light.
and I've done other crafts too. I've always enjoyed that sort of thing,
Mhm.
but we would use scrap glass and make something neat out of it, and then
Mm.
take it to 4-H competitions or something
Right,
like that.
right,
you know.
yeah.
So, but it's almost like this glass? No, it's not, but
Mhm.
it's kind of like coming home.
Right, exactly. Well, it's your creative twist on that, and just It's awesome. It's awesome to hear that and how all that's come around for you. Well, listen, if you all are interested, look at melissasmithdesign.com, melissasmithdesign.com. We will put that actually in the comments on on this post. If you are interested in seeing what we have here at the gift shop, come by, or, look it up online, contact us. We can tell you how you can get your own original piece. I'm guessing no two pieces are alike. No two pieces are ever alike. So you can have a very original piece by an up and coming jewelry artisan from right here in Duncan.
Thank you.
Yes.
And all of my pieces, even the ones here, are on my website. If it is housed at Chisholm Trail, there is a link to take you straight to your website or contact information so that you can find that.
Awesome. Fantastic. That is great. And be watching for her to put her, what'd you call this? Simply Silver pieces on her website. They are beautiful, and I am in love with some of those. Those are fantastic. So guys, thank you for joining us today. Be sure and watch next week. We are going to be talking about some Oklahoma inventors and inventions. I'm kind of thinking Melissa might be a bit of an inventor with this jewelry thing that she came up with. I might have to get some more background on some of that sometime and add her to those episodes. But anyway, you guys tune in next week. Thanks for watching today. And Melissa, she told me she kind of binge watched Trail Talk, so she's one of my favorites now. So you know what to do, don't you?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right. Well, let's tell them happy trails.
We're still here.